Mr. Nalin Kohli on the phone line with us. Mr. Nalin Kohli, this is a big relief for Rahul Gandhi. He is all set to now come back as the MP from Wayanad.
Thanks, Milan. Well, this is due process of law. This is the same legal process which is available to every Indian citizen. Mr. Rahul Gandhi was convicted by a court. Thereafter, in his appeal, that conviction was not stayed by the appellate court. The Honorable High Court was pleased not to give him that relief. He's come before the Honorable Supreme Court. The Honorable Supreme Court has given him that relief, but as I've gathered from the media, because I haven't seen or been part of that proceeding, it seems that he has been also warned to be more careful with his words. And if that is true, then Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party would do well to introspect and reflect on this advice, which was given even on an earlier occasion by the Honorable Supreme Court, when Rahul Gandhi ji had come before the Supreme Court to claim relief, when he had spoken on the Rafale issue, if I recall correctly.
Well, that matter was also taken up in the Supreme Court, sir. The reference was also made on the previous statements that have been made by Rahul Gandhi, sir. But Mr. Kohli, do you believe that the narrative now entirely changes just before the 2024 election, sir?
I don't see it like that. What is the narrative? The narrative is clearly that Mr. Rahul Gandhi chose to speak words that were not appropriate and he stands convicted. That conviction has only been stayed. He has to go through the entire process for that conviction first to be overturned. So as on date, and as a lawyer I'm pointing out, with no disrespect to him or anyone else, the fact of the matter is he is convicted. He's not exonerated. What he's got is a stay on the conviction. And the stay on the conviction means that he gets back, which is the pure legal process. Because why was he disqualified as a member of parliament? Is because of the amendment to the act, which is under the Congress period. And he himself had prevented the ordinance from coming in 2013, as he famously tore that paper and threw it in the dustbin, while Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was in the US. So Mr. Rahul Gandhi, as several other people before him, got instantly disqualified the minute they had a conviction of 2 years and above.
So now, sir, will his membership now be instantly also restored, sir? Because we've been speaking to Mr. Karti Chidambaram a short while back, and he's saying we will see Rahul Gandhi in Parliament on Monday, sir.
Well, these are the natural legal consequences. And every Indian citizen has the right of the legal process and the outcomes of it. So it's not about preventing A or B. As I said, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is, after all, an Indian citizen just like any one of us. You, me, anyone else. He enjoys those rights as an Indian citizen as anybody else. Now the question on what Karti Chidambaram ji has said is that he will be back in Parliament, but the larger question is, does the Congress party want Parliament to function? Because if we look at the track record of the last few days, they've gone out of their way to ensure, with other opposition parties, that Parliament does not function. So I don't know in what sense is this delight on. Is this delight that Parliament will now function because Rahul Gandhi ji has come back?
Right,
which will show that the focus is only on Rahul Gandhi, or that he will also participate in disrupting Parliament.
Right, sir. Mr. Kohli, sir, thank you very much for joining in. First, BJP reaction that we're also coming in. Ms. Priyanka Chaturvedi is also with us. Ma'am, good afternoon. How would you look at the judgment that has now been pronounced? A big,
jumping with glee when he had to exit the 12th Tughlaq Lane residence as well as stand outside the Parliament has now come undone. And the Supreme Court has done what the Parliament is now supposed to do, that you've seen him probably in this session.
And just as a follow-up to that, ma'am, a final question. Do you think this will galvanize the INDI alliance that much more in the build-up to 2024?
See, the entire India alliance, by the way, it's the India alliance. I don't know why do you all painstakingly call it INDIA and waste another 10 seconds of your time. All I'd say is that we were very clear that truth will prevail, justice will be served, and it has been served, and we are very clear that people of the country saw in how arbitrary fashion this entire trial was conducted, how a sentence was pronounced, just with the intent of getting him out of the Parliament and getting him to not contest a parliamentary seat. Right. So that has been served, and we're very certain that we will take this to the people of the country, and people of the country are understanding what BJP, the desperate measures BJP is stooping to.
All right, Mr. Chaturvedi, thank you for speaking to Times Now. We're also being joined right now by two guests, Mr. Karan Verma as well as Tehseen Poonawalla. Let me immediately go across to Mr. Poonawalla for this. Mr. Poonawalla, in the debates that you've appeared on Times Now before this, you were quite confident that Mr. Rahul Gandhi would get relief from the apex court. That has happened now, and the ball now completely in the court of the Lok Sabha Secretariat, so to speak. Do you expect his disqualification to be reversed with the same alacrity that it was actually initiated following his conviction?
Not just on Times Now, but even this morning I tweeted.
Tehseen, just interrupting you, I'm told that Mr. Sachin Pilot is also with us here on the broadcast. Sir, your first reaction, Mr. Pilot? All right, lost that line. We'll just quickly reconnect with him. But in the meantime, as multiple reactions continue to come in, as on one side, Congress Party office celebrations are on, sweets are being distributed. Tehseen, pictures that have been coming in, please continue.
So not just in Times Now, but even this morning in the on Twitter, I tweeted that the Honorable Apex Court will should reverse the judgment. It's the right thing to do. And now my only prayer is to the Honorable Speaker of the Lok Sabha that do not do politics. The Speaker does not belong to a political party. He belongs to the Parliament. Even the Honorable Prime Minister has to bow before this.
क्या कहेंगे आप?
सर्वप्रथम ये कहना चाहते हैं कि हमारे सदन में, हमारे संविधान में जहाँ भी जाइए अब इस सदन की हर परिसर में आपको ये देखने को मिलेगी, सत्यमेव जयते। राहुल गांधी जी के खिलाफ जो घिनौना साजिश रची गई थी, आज साबित हुई है कि ये साजिश नाकाम हो चुके हैं। आज सुबह प्रार्थना किए थे हम सब कि राहुल गांधी जी की उनके खिलाफ जो झूठे इल्जाम लगाया गया उससे उन्हें राहत मिले। हमारे न्यायालय ने राहुल गांधी जी की राहत देते हुए सत्य साबित कर दिए हैं कि अभी भी हमारी देश में न्यायालय बोल के एक महान प्रतिष्ठान है जहां लोगों को न्याय मिलती है। ये जीत सत्य की जीत है। राहुल गांधी जी की जीत मोदी जी के लिए भारी पड़ेगी। अगले दिन राहुल गांधी जी आंधी बनकर उतरेंगे। जितना साजिश करना है करते जाओ, राहुल गांधी जी को रुकने वाला कोई नहीं है।
Well, let's take this across to Mr. Karan Verma, who's still with us. Mr. Verma, the opposition, of course, before we come to Mr. Karan Verma, Dipinder Singh Hooda from Haryana, Member of Parliament, has also responded to these developments.
Sir, Supreme Court had stayed conviction of Rahul Gandhi. He may be coming back as Lok Sabha Member of Parliament in Lok Sabha soon.
At the moment, without reading the detailed court order, my first reaction is only two words: Satyame Jayate. Justice has prevailed. In the end, it is truth which triumphs. सच की जीत हुई है और बाकी विस्तार से एक बार जब हम ऑर्डर पढ़ लें तो सारी बात है।
सर, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये भी कहा है कि कहीं ना कहीं बचना चाहिए था, टिप्पणी नहीं करनी चाहिए थी, हालांकि उन्होंने कन्विक्शन पे स्टे कर दिया है। फिर भी
तो वही तो मैंने कहा कि न्याय ऐसा लगता है, जो पहली प्रतिक्रिया आ रही है कि न्याय हुआ है, सत्य में जयते, अंत में जीत सत्य की ही होती है। ये
Well, Satyamev Jayate, that is the sentiment that has now been shared by majority of those Congress leaders. There, Tehseen, apologies, we had to interrupt you because constantly we are getting those live reactions. We also see a big smile on your face. Please continue with your point.
As Dipinder said, Satyameva Jayate, I was just texting him. But yes, as I tweeted this morning, the conviction will be spared and should be stayed. Now, my only appeal via Times Now is that good sense prevails and justice prevails on the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, who does not act like a BJP Karyakartas who went around filing cases against Sri Rahul Gandhi ji, but acts like the Speaker of the greatest and most sovereign assembly in the world, the Indian Parliament, and does restore the MPship of Sri Rahul Gandhi ji. So Rahul Gandhi ji can come on Monday and hold the Honorable Prime Minister and Home Minister accountable for what happened in Manipur, the terrible tragedy in Manipur.
Mr. Karan Verma, what's your first response to the stay on the conviction that's been issued by the Supreme Court?
You know, what is funny and ironical is that now all the Congress supporters, their entire ecosystem, suddenly believes that institutions do work in this country. They believe the judiciary is independent. We have a thriving democracy. Because till now they were saying, Modi ji ne hamara ghar chhin liya. मोदी जी ने राहुल गांधी को एक कॉन्स्पिरेसी के तहत बाहर कर दिया. So the truth is, Mr. Modi was not involved either when he was convicted by a lower court and even now when he's got relief. There has been a process of law and rule of law right throughout. So this double standards of the Congress, meetha meetha gap gap, kadwa kadwa thu thu, this selective cherry picking doesn't work. And let's not make him a martyr or make him larger than life. He was convicted, so he's being given relief.
Karan Verma wants to remind the Congress party and its leaders what was being said when, the Gujarat High Court did not give him any relief. And the statements that today have completely changed.
Democracy is working, I'm sure Tehseen believes that.
I always believed it. Show me one instance I've criticized any court and saying it's not democratic. I believe democracy exists in this country, which is why I'm on Times Now. But what I'm saying, and I maintain, the Honorable Gujarat High Court's decision was terrible, was wrong, was bad. I know my friend Karan also doesn't believe there should be criminal defamation. And how come all the aggrieved people were BJP Karyakartas? Only BJP Karyakartas were getting aggrieved. They filed number of cases on Sri Rahul Gandhi ji. None of them he's been convicted. Today he's got a massive relief from the Honorable Supreme Court. And now let's hope as Democrats, both Karan and I are Democrats, the Honorable Speaker upholds his right to come back to Parliament so we can see him in Parliament on Monday.
In fact, Mr. Karan Verma, Tehseen Poonawalla in the past had questioned the delay on the part of the Lok Sabha Secretariat to restore the MP status of a Lakshadweep member of Parliament who had first been convicted and thereafter his conviction had been stayed, and yet there was a long delay before his MPship could be restored. Do you expect that kind of politics to play out this time round as well, Mr. Verma? And I'll take that to Tehseen soon after this.
No, I don't think that should play out, and neither do I think it will. But Tehseen has the luxury of being a Congress supporter and suddenly being an independent person. So that is the kind of luxury not many enjoy, because Rahul Gandhi is on record saying that democracy has been wiped off. He has been on record saying Modi ji ne mujhe apne ghar se nikal diya. Though it was a process of law, it was a procedure which had got him out of that house. So let's be real about it. Yes, democracy is alive and kicking, and Rahul Gandhi should be rightfully back in the Lok Sabha now that he has been given relief.
Right,
but it's a lesson for Rahul Gandhi also.
There is a point
to make
here.
Sure such remarks are not
It
gone.
is mainly a relief also for Rahul Gandhi, but the bigger picture, it's a relief for the people of Wayanad who were still being underrepresented in Parliament.
Absolutely, and they wanted to call elections in Wayanad and in my city of Pune, but they knew that they can't win Wayanad, so therefore I think they've held back. But more importantly, Karan is a fantastic author and a very good lawyer, but Karan made one error here. Karan, this house taking away Rahul ji was political, because if it was not political and an automatic process, Modi ji's friend for whom Modi ji cried, Ghulam Nabi Azad, his house would have been taken back. Remember, Prime Minister Modi cried for Ghulam Nabi Azad in Parliament, did not cry for the people of Manipur. That house of Ghulam Nabi Azad continues to be there, despite Ghulam Nabi Azad not being an MP or having any post. So that is the politics that we're talking about.
Mr. Verma,
could not have had the house after he was disqualified as an MP. He could not have had the house. You can talk about the delay or doing it quickly, but he could not have possibly been there once he was disqualified.
How does Ghulam Nabi Azad have the house? Because Modi
two wrongs don't make one right.
No, but Tehseen, will Rahul Gandhi be now more careful, especially because elections are around the corner?
I think that should be the talking point.
Will he now be more careful while delivering speeches during the election campaigns?
He's refused to take back his affidavit in the Honorable Supreme Court, which Times Now was the first to access, and I saw that, said very clearly that he does not take back his remarks. He holds by it and he does not apologize. And I do not think he needs to apologize. If anyone, and I know you guys are phenomenal journalists and Karan's a phenomenal author, if you guys think Lalit Modi and Nirav Modi are not chos or they are OBC citizens, I think that is an insult to our OBC citizens.
It was for all.
But Mr. Poonawala, the Supreme Court did say, while granting relief to Mr. Rahul Gandhi, it did say that his comments were in bad taste, that he ought to have been careful. So that's something that Rahul Gandhi ideally should be taking home in the build-up to 2024 when he makes more speeches and addresses more rallies.
But that does not mean that Lalit Modi and Nirav Modi are not chos. They are absolute chos. Lalit Modi and Nirav Modi have conned this country. They deserve to be dragged back to this country. And I don't know why the government of Honorable Prime Minister Modi, Narendra Modi ji, is dragging its feet and not dragging them back.
Mr. Verma, yes, you have something to say.
Be factual, it was not just the two of them, it was for all Modis. And secondly, the brazenness that I will not apologize. I am not Rahul Savarkar, I am a Rahul Gandhi. I don't think that kind of
I believe Mr. Sachin Pilot is back with us, requesting our guest to please stay on with us. Mr. Pilot, sir, your first reaction, sir.
I think I welcome the Supreme Court order today. It has actually re-established the faith that people have in our judicial process. Supreme Court has clearly said that all that we heard from the lower courts and high court was not appropriate, and our stand has been vindicated by none less than the highest court of the land. So it also, I think, shows a mirror to all those people who thought that any sort of conspiracy might work, because the written case for more than 120 years has never been given a punishment like this, where we qualify the member, and in such a hasteful fashion, it's unprecedented. So Supreme Court's verdict today has actually given hope in the system that we have in our country, and not just Congress people, but people, all those who believe in democracy and the right to speak and to have a healthy democratic functioning today feel that the faith has been restored.
In fact, Mr. Pilot, that's something that the Supreme Court also pointed out, that both the Magistrates Court and the High Court did not actually elaborate the reasons as to why Mr. Gandhi had been given the maximum sentence under criminal defamation. That's one of the reasons why he's got a relief this time round.
Which is true, because that's what our argument was. First of all, to prove his defamation is also, not appropriate. And to say criminal defamation, maximum punishment, no reason cited. I mean, there was certain doubts created because of the verdict we heard from the lower court and the high court. But the Supreme Court, I think, has stood tall. It has taken cognizance of the wrong judgments made by the lower court and has set the record straight. And I think Mr. Gandhi's membership should be restored immediately, just as quickly as he was disqualified by the Honourable Speaker.
Do you expect that to happen, Mr. Pilot? Because he was disqualified within a span of a day after his conviction.
If you can disqualify within a day, why can't you reinstate within it? I think this is actually shown mirror to all those who thought that it's possible to express the voice of people who talk for the people. Today, what's happening in Manipur and Haryana, no one is answering those questions. But I think the judgment, I think, is also being viewed by the Lok Sabha, and they must instate forthwith, immediately, his membership, which has been, to my mind, wrongfully taken away from him.
So, Mr. Pilot, do you believe that the entire narrative now changes with Rahul Gandhi back in the game? I mean, giving more teeth to the opposition alliance so far?
I think the India alliance was already very strong, but this judgment will certainly give boost to all the cadres, all the opposition parties coming together. And I just might add that Mr. Gandhi has never been a candidate for his opposition. We have worked in the government without taking any positions. We've been in opposition. The opposition unity will get only stronger within the House and outside the House. And I think it's alarm bells for the BJP in the next 4 Vidhan Sabha elections at the end of the year and Lok Sabha elections next year.
Mr. Pilot, the Supreme Court in its observations did have a word of advice for Mr. Gandhi. One, that he should be careful when he makes speeches in the future, and that his comments, which are currently, of course, under scrutiny, were in bad taste. What do you have to say to those observations being made by the court while giving him relief?
That particular observation stands true for all politicians. Have a decent discourse in public life. But that is true for all parties, opposition and government. We all must present an example for the next generation by using language that is, that is respectful of others. But more importantly, the conspiracy which was hatched by issuing a PIL, having a lower court give a judgment, and maximum conviction. What's more important is that the courts that have worked so far in this case were actually not able to prove why he was being targeted, why there was a prejudice against him. And this language that the courts have mandated, I think, holds true for all public individuals. anyone in any political party must have a decency of debate and discourse so that people can be proud of our politicians. I think that's an advice that the Honorable Court has given to all of us.
Right. Mr. Pilot, last question to you, sir. Of course, the bypolls were not announced in Wayanad, but the bigger picture here being, of course, apart from Rahul Gandhi being given a big relief, it is also a relief to the people there of Wayanad who were being unrepresented over the last 130 days, sir.
That's true, and that's how processes take time. But again, I welcome the court, Supreme Court, and I think now we are all waiting for the Honorable Speaker to act immediately and reinstate the member of Mr. Gandhi in the House before the no confidence vote.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sachin Pilot, for speaking exclusively there to Times Now after, of course, the relief that's come from the Supreme Court in terms of a stay on conviction with respect to the defamation case that Mr. Rahul Gandhi faces. We have some more reactions coming in following that order from the Supreme Court. Let's tune in.
How happy Congress party is with the Supreme Court order, sir?
Not only Congress party, those who are believing in democracy in this country are happy, very much happy. Because democratic values are proven.
All right, with multiple reactions that continue to come in, and as the Congress party and many of its leaders have been calling it as Satyamev Jayate, Jairam Ramesh, one of the other Congress leaders, have been saying that Supreme Court judgment is a strong vindication of truth and justice. Despite the relentless efforts of the BJP's machinery, Rahul Gandhi has refused to bend, break or bow, choosing instead to place his faith in the judicial process. Let this be a lesson to the BJP and its acolytes, and you can do your absolute worst, but we will not back down.
So that's, of course, the reaction coming from Mr. Jairam Ramesh himself. Other colleagues of his within the Congress party also claiming that this is vindication for the Congress party's claim that there was a conspiracy against Mr. Rahul Gandhi and that his disqualification was uncalled for and his conviction as well. So we take this back to Mr. Karan Verma as well as Tehseen Poonawalla. Mr. Karan Verma, coming to you first, do you believe that both the Gujarat High Court as well as the Magistrates Court had erred in delivering the maximum punishment for criminal defamation for Mr. Rahul Gandhi? That's one of the principal reasons why he's actually being given a relief this time round by the Supreme Court, because neither of those two courts were able to actually elaborately explain or justify the reason for the maximum punishment.
You know, I'm surprised by the glee in the Congress supporters right now. I mean, their standard has dropped so low, they have so little to cheer that today as someone who's been given relief, they are celebrating. The natural reaction would be bach gaye. Jaan bachi lakho pai. Instead of that, they are saying it's a lesson for Prime Minister Modi. Arey, it's a lesson for Rahul Gandhi. And that is what the Supreme Court has said. That from next time, please be careful and don't forget, there are other cases on Rahul Gandhi as well. He's out on bail. On many other instances, he's landed in trouble because of his constant gaps. He said RSS is responsible for Mahatma Gandhi, Gauri Lankesh killing, he linked. So he's been someone who's run into trouble a number of times. Yes, we can debate that the maximum conviction of 2 years was a bit harsh. We can debate that. But what he did, even the Supreme Court is saying you need to mind your language. So I don't think there should be anything to cheer about for Congress supporters. It should be a wake-up call for them. That is how it should be perceived. But then
we have seen Rahul Gandhi's statements before, even when he was in the country or outside the country. He's been raising several questions when it comes to the government machinery and other agencies as well. And now he's been calling them as compromised. And now he's reposing their faith in the judicial process. What is this difference, Tehseen?
I'll come to that, but let's first answer Karan's question. Yes, there are multiple cases of Rahul Gandhi, and yet not in a single case that only, and all these cases have been filed by BJP supporters. All of these cases have been filed by BJP supporters. That shows how motivated the BJP supporters are to file cases against Rahul Gandhi ji. Otherwise, there was also cases.
Modi namdari, Modi surnamedari, Modi caste, Modi samaj, Modi community, इन सभी का अपमान किया था। उस समय हमने सूरत में ट्रायल कोर्ट में 2013 में ही हमने याचिका फाइल की थी। बाद में 2023 में ट्रायल कोर्ट में सभी कानूनी प्रक्रिया के बाद श्रीमान राहुल गांधी को 2 साल की सजा दी गई। बाद में श्रीमान श्री राहुल गांधी ने उस सजा के सामने सूरत की सेशन कोर्ट में कन्विक्शन स्टे के लिए याचिका दी गई थी, वहां भी उनकी कन्विक्शन स्टे नहीं हुआ। जो फैसला था हमारे पक्ष में आया। बाद में कन्विक्शन स्टे के लिए माननीय गुजरात की बड़ी अदालत हाईकोर्ट में भी कन्विक्शन स्टे के लिए उन्होंने याचिका फाइल की थी। गुजरात हाईकोर्ट ने भी कन्विक्शन स्टे नहीं किया। फैसला हमारी और आया। बाद में नामदार सुप्रीम कोर्ट में कन्विक्शन स्टे के लिए श्रीमान राहुल ने याचिका फाइल की थी। आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट में श्रीमान राहुल गांधी का कन्विक्शन स्टे किया गया है। इस कानूनी प्रक्रिया में हम इस सम्मानीय फैसले का स्वागत करते हैं और आने वाले दिन में जब अब सेशंस कोर्ट में ये मुकदमा हम चलने वाला है, वह हमारी ओर से, समाज की ओर से कानूनी जंग जो है वो लड़ी जाएगी। आज का जो भी कानूनी प्रक्रिया में जो भी सबजुडिस मैटर था, उस पे जो बात हुई है, इसके बारे में हमारा एडवोकेट श्री हर्षित टोलिया जी आपसे बात करेंगे।
Right, so that was Mr. Purnesh Modi. Remember, the BJP MLA from Gujarat, who was the original complainant in this matter, who went to a Surat court to file that defamation case after Rahul Gandhi had made those comments in Kolar in 2019. We'll slip into a short break right now, but we'll continue our coverage of this and much more on the other side. Do not go anywhere.